Hi everyone, my name is Jamie, and today we are going to learn about literacy and poverty in public education. If we have not yet been acquainted, I'm Jamie, and I'm an early childhood education major here at ASU with hopes to pursue a career as a kindergarten teacher. Having literacy and poverty, specifically in how it impacts education, is crucial in creating an impactful and progressive environment for young learners. This is especially important as a future kindergarten teacher, as these early years can really set the tone for a child's education. I'm a dance teacher. These are some of my students, and I primarily work with kiddos ages about 3 to 12 right now. We have a handful of goals and objectives for today's workshop. So, during our workshop, students will understand literacy's relationship to poverty in education, learn how critical literacy is applicable to poverty in public education, learn how digital and media literacy affects poverty in early childhood education, understand how cultural literacy is applicable to public schools, have awareness of different sources to better educate others on poverty in public education, and create awareness in how, as an educator, one can support students struggling with poverty. Overall, our goal is to better prepare educators to advocate for students and aid in their academic success, regardless of the many obstacles produced by poverty. Literacy's relationship to poverty and education. We will begin by defining literacy. This is an ever evolving concept as contemporary learners find that reading, writing, and arithmetic are joined by more modern topics, such as coding, media, etc., to better support students for higher education and future careers. This means that literacy is simply proficiency in a topic. That being said, just as students are expected to create literacy in their topics taught at school, educators are expected to develop literacy in student needs. This is where we see the role of an educator shift from a teacher to an advocate, or role model, and supporter. There's a wide range of literacies expected from teachers, one of which is literacy in poverty, the topic we're going to be covering today. Critical literacy application. So we're going to be answering what is critical literacy, whose voices are heard, whose are silenced, what implicit biases are passed down to children in education. Critical literacy is the ability to remove personal bias or past teachings to better analyze and reflect on sociological impacts that occur as a result of practices and ideals that have shaped social norms. This is something that is illustrated through texts and teachings in public schools, as our students are not always given multiple perspectives of history. As a teacher, it is important to recognize this and make sure as many viewpoints as possible are addressed to provide accurate cultural perspective to students. Stemming off of the topic of critical literacy is understanding how lack of perspective or voice contributes to poverty. It is important to recognize this as a future educator to better support students. As an educator, we can strive to ensure students are exposed to all viewpoints throughout history to get a better understanding of the world around them. This may mean encouraging students to ask questions, bringing personal testimonies or experiences to the lesson, and teaching students how differentiation between news, propaganda, satire, etc., when researching. Digital and media application. In this portion of our workshop, we will discuss what impacts does the digital world have on literacy and education, and how does that relate to poverty? What biases are being exposed? And as an educator, in what ways can you utilize media and technology to aid in student success regardless of age? Many times, a child's education is determined by their parents' financial status. With kids taking more technological approaches to education, many students need access to some more pricier materials to be successful in the class, for example, a computer or Wi Fi. With that being said, it is important to ensure that all students have access to materials needed in order to be successful in the classroom, on top of knowing how to properly use these materials. We encounter a great deal of bias in the news and media. Because of this, students should be taught at a young age how to sift through information in order to ensure accuracy. The earlier students are introduced to this concept, the better. Children are incredibly impressionable and many times will mimic the viewpoints of adults around them. Maintaining a progressive and inclusive environment from a young age will aid in diminishing implicit biases that may contribute to the ideas of poverty in education. In regards to parent support, access to media introduces foundations, nonprofit organizations, and grants that may be available to students in order to close this accessibility gap. Next, we're going to talk about cultural application. An educator's fluency in cultural literacy is very helpful to students, especially at a young age. Teachers who are able to provide cultural relevance to lessons allow for students to have a better concept of how our educational system works to support students. As an educator, providing a foundation in cultural literacy sets a child up for future success and creates transparency in what resources are available to them in their education. Next up, we're going to talk about multimodal application. So here I have three different nonprofits that work to help with poverty um, amongst children. So each one of these links, you're more than welcome to click on. It provides information to what they're all about and who they help out. Um, First of all, over here on the left, the Boys and Girls Club of America provides internships and safe spaces for children experiencing poverty. They have a multitude of programs that teach children to prioritize education and set themselves up for success. And the link to learn more about them is right here. In the center, I have Red Nose Day. This is a fundraising campaign that donates to programs supporting the safety, health, education, and empowerment of our future generations. And below is a link where you can learn more about them. Over to the side, this little computer represents Everyone On, which works to bring low-cost computers and internet to students in need. And right here is the link to find out more about them. The fact of the matter is that poverty can directly impact the future of a child by diminishing their opportunity, limiting their potential, and hindering their mental health. As education, as an educator, it is incredibly important to have literacy and poverty and set your students up for success in the future. Our last slide is going to be educational opportunities to help further your own literacy in this topic. So the first link in the left-hand corner, right up here, lists different organizations that work to help students impacted by poverty. There's about 11 on this list, and all three organizations that I just mentioned earlier are on here as well. This link over here in the top right-hand corner provides insight on how poverty can have long-term effects on educational success if you'd like to continue to grow your own literacy and how poverty affects public schools. And at the very bottom, this is a TED Talk, and it provides insight to the role of an educator and what roles they play in student lives to give a better understanding of educational impact in regards to poverty. And then these are my resources. Thanks, guys.